Let's get back to our conversation now with Senator Smart Adeyemi, who contested for the APC ticket in Kogi State. But campaign is in full swing, but he's now left out of the race because his name is not on the ticket, but he's still fighting because he believes that the primaries, which saw Usman Ododo emerge as a candidate of the APC, was unlawful and fraudulent. Senator Smart Adeyemi, thank you so much for
it's my pleasure once again to be here.
But let me take, before I take you into your Supreme Court pursuit, there's something I'd like you to note on, and the manner in which the Senate has screened some of the nominees of President Tinubu. A lot of people had criticized and said, look, these are not thorough enough to allow Nigerians to have a sense that this Senate is looking like a rubber stamp. What do you think?
I don't think so. In the first instance, we find it difficult to judge my colleagues in the 10th Assembly. But let me just tell you this, that the Senate is made up of men and women of high integrity. You see, when you are not in there, the way you look at issues differs. They have additional information that may not be on the streets. And for them to have confirmed the nominees, it isn't that they are rubber stamp. It's because probably they appreciated the exigencies of the time. And again, they believe in the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that is bringing people who will deliver. Well, I think more importantly, what Nigerians should know about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, including those who are ministers, is that from his track record, once you don't perform, 6 months, 1 year, he shows you the way out.
You think he can rejig his cabinet that?
That's what he's going to do. The man is in a hurry to make a difference. I sure you want to make a name. You want to reposition Nigeria. You want to recover lost ground for the nation. He's telling us that he appreciates we are going through some pains. See, he's coming with a track record of performance, and he's supported by a man who has enviable record in Borno State, the vice president. So what I'm saying in essence is that those who have been nominated, given an appointment, I celebrate you. But if you don't perform, this man will show them out. It's not a question of leaving them for 8 years or 4 years. Ashwaju doesn't have that track record.
But what about, what do you say to those who question the character and some of the quality of those he has put together in his team, some of those he has put in some agencies? That people will say, look, if it was the Tinubu that we knew in Lagos, the class of people that served with him in 1999 to 2003 and 2003 to 2007, that's not the same Tinubu that they know. Those are some of the criticism about the quality and the character of those whom he has put together this time around.
Well, one thing you must understand in the democratic dispensation like ours, and taking Nigeria as an example, is that it is not just Tinubu alone who go ahead to make those nominations. The state governors who insist. Don't forget that some of them insisted that, look, we're going to recommend to you who will represent our state in your cabinet. So to some large extent, you must allow them to have their way a bit. But if after 6 months, 8 months, don't be surprised, some of them will be shown the way out. At that time, he'll be speaking from the point of knowledge of who you are giving to us, that they are not pulling their weight. Ashwaju is not a man who will just keep quiet and go to sleep. If they fail to meet up, it's going to show them the way out. It's not a difficult thing. Nigeria is skeptical because maybe in the past, where you have some ministers sitting for 8 years, nobody's asking them to give report, nobody's questioning them. This president will not do.
But what about, I mean, agreed, Bola Tinubu may have that kind of heart. But what about the Senate, whom, I mean, some people have raised questions about the kind of job they are doing in scrutinizing on behalf of the Nigerian people. They have the power of the Constitution to screen. But there are those who believe that these guys are not doing the right thing. They're not being thorough enough to scrutinize these people for the jobs.
Well, in assessing or in screening a candidate, what you take into consideration first and foremost is you look at his background. Is he knowledgeable enough to be so appointed? Now, at times when people appear, they may be stammering. Some people may come there, they may not be themselves. But that is not to say that they lack the capacity to perform. So until when you see some of them, or you look at their track record, and maybe after 1 or 2, 3 months, you get to know. There are some of the ministers that are performing excellently well now within the last 2, 3 months. So time we justify whether they are good or not. It's a question of time.
Let me show you what happened yesterday. This was, and I mean, you being in the National Assembly for several years, this was an undercurrent that a lot of people believe that Senator Godswill Akpabio is having a tough time, and there are those who are working on the ground to remove him as Senate President. Let me allow you to listen to Senator Aline Dume, who is the chief whip, and part of his comment is about the manner in which the Senate is being run. Take a listen to Aline Dume.
Just as a way of, advising the Senate on the way we do things. Mr. President, this is the Senate. This is the Senate. And we should not shy away from learning.
Sorry, Order 54. Order 54 says, shall locate time to all sequence of speeches, motions, or bills coming before the Senate. So as we are coming under Order 54, this is what is written there. So I'm sorry, Leader, we rule you out of order.
All right. Just as that was happening, this is what happened afterwards. I mean, that was the second time the chief whip was ruled out of order, and this is what happened. He took his leave. And thereafter, the Senate President called for an executive session. An executive session is a closed-door session where media and all other external persons are being asked to excuse the Senate. But there are those who believe that the senators who are boasting that Akpabio's time is ticking. What do you think could be going wrong?
Well, let me just say that Akpabio is a fine gentleman. You must give it to him. Gentleman, and I can tell you he's a harmless man. But see, the Senate is made up of members from different backgrounds, different political parties. Okay, there is no overwhelming majority, so to speak, for the ruling party in this present assembly. Well, I want you to equally realize that it's perhaps too early to start entertaining fears about the stability of the Senate. It's usually this pattern. After another 2, 3 months, 4 months now, they get to understand each other. And some of these issues that are being raised, Iduma didn't raise those issues out of hatred or out of an interior motive, but he's speaking as a ranking senator, a very senior ranking senator for that matter. And I think that the order which he quoted, which he came up, Order 54, of course, I know what that order means, okay? It's an issue that could have come on or from another order, maybe, maybe order 7, 8, 9 or thereabout. But let me just say this there, that there's nothing to worry about, because a new assembly like this will start on this kind of a note. After some time, everybody will get to understand each other.
That those who lost out are still aggrieved?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The Yaris of this world?
No, I don't think so. That is the imagination of some people. There are many things that goes on in the Senate. Not the way you look at it, that the way it is. Okay? There's some development on the floor of the Senate. You may think these people are enemies. They are not enemies. In another 2 hours, 3 hours, they start talking and say, "Oh, why did you do this? Why did you?" So it's settled, So it's a normal thing in parliamentary gathering like this for people to express displeasure, and later they will settle and they move on.
Engagement with lawmakers when they say, "Oh, nothing is wrong," until we saw 4 different Senate presidents change under Obasanjo. It was a normal thing. And this is how you politicians talk.
But don't forget.
Let me take you to Kogi. Because I remember at that time, everybody said everything was okay. Kenny Inamani seems to be the stop to that change.
I don't see that happening.
Chubok Adigbo.
I don't see that happening.
We saw until Kenny Inamani, it was just a normal thing. Yeah. A normal thing. And 4, we had 5 Senate presidents in just about 4 years. Well, Senator Smart Adeyemi. Why have you not given up? The appeal court said all the grounds that you brought before it are baseless and they were thrown out, lacked merit. Yet you're still going to the Supreme Court. Why?
Well, if you look at my background, you appreciate why I have tenacity of purpose in anything I'm doing. You know. I was lucky to be in the Senate when the 2022 Electoral Act was amended. Now, let me tell you this, that the hallmark of democracy is that institution called legislative arm. The National Assembly is the symbol of democracy. It differentiates democratic government from dictatorial government or from military government. That institution is the life wire of democracy. Now, the laws that were made in that institution must be seen to be interpreted in accordance with what is provided. And you don't have to be a lawyer to understand and to appreciate when you are guilty or when you are at fault. The audacity I have is the fact that I was part of those who drafted the Electoral Act. And let me just tell you the three major issues. I want to go to the others. After this presentation, you can adjudge whether I have a case or not.
I'm not a court.
You are not a court. I'm not a court too. Explain why we're going to.
I'm just a member of the fourth estate of the realm.
Now
I'm just privileged to have that.
Okay, let me just educate. Let me just educate you. In the 2022 Electoral Act, it says direct primary elections should be conducted word by word. That's number one law. Word by word, not local government headquarters. So I stayed in my community, where we have about 2,000 members, in my own community, which happens to be the local government headquarters and the ward headquarters. Now, in their submission, they said, look, this is from my opponent. This is from SAN Abdul Razak, who represented the APC in Kogi State. He said, and let me look at this page. He said, all members, APC 15, local government, ward of Kababonu local government, converge at APC Secretariat headquarters, Kaba. That's why they had this one. All of them had, according to them, they said they had the primaries in the local government headquarters, contrary to the provision of Section 84A of the Electoral Act. You don't have to be a lawyer to know when you are guilty.
But Senator,
Senator,
just a moment on that point.
Yeah.
Who has the authority to conduct a governorship primary? What body has the authority to conduct a governorship primary?
The party and the INEC.
No, INEC does not conduct.
Yes.
INEC supervises and monitors.
The party set up a committee.
According to law,
yeah,
is the one who coordinates.
Yes.
Did the APC at the national level conduct this primary?
Are you aware to that? The chairman.
No, I'm not. Why are you?
So I'm sorry. I'm not the
answer the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The chairman.
You were a journalist those years.
I'm still a journalist. But the chairman of the panel left at the time they were to conduct the primary election. The chairman, which is contrary to the provision of APC law, regulation governing primary election. But more importantly, let me tell you, in Kogi State we have 239 wards. Lawyers will tell you that the facts speak for itself. We have 239 wards in Kogi State. What is before the lordship is result of 11 wards. This is from my
out of the 239.
Out of 239 wards.
Why was
they have the result of 11 wards?
Why was this difficult for your lawyers to adduce the evidence?
They did.
And prove this to the court to the extent that not even one of the judges, 3 of them sat on that matter, and not one could side on your defense to say that they said that you lack merit in your argument.
In fact, what they said was that we allege forgery. There was nothing like forgery in our submission. See, with due respect to their lordship, I wouldn't want to go further. I went to the apex court, the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is a court of, not just a court of law, a court of justice, fairness, superior reasoning, and above all, when there's a pronouncement of other courts, it may not be too taken seriously. If the Supreme Court should rule that 11 ward result is good enough to declare someone a candidate out of 234, then they have made a new law which we call case law. It means they have made the pronouncement. Because you cannot put something on nothing that it will stand. It's not going to stand. It's a settled doctrine of law since 1962, when Lord Dennis said, in the case of UAC and Mark Vogt, that You cannot put something on nothing and it will stand. You cannot come with local government election result without the word result. One of the Supreme Court judges today, in one of her ruling, when she was in the Court of Appeal, she said, and I quote, he said, electoral process is a pyramid, that the foundation must first be laid. Without the foundation, that's the unit. I'm sure you listen to the judgment of the Federal High Court, the Appeal Court in the case of the presidential election, when the APC, the PDP, and Labour Party alleged malpractices in the polling units across the country. They said they didn't bring the result to justify the allegation.
Did you take the result to the court in all of those areas?
The result that they submitted is just 11. They are here, 11 for Kotokarufi, only out of 239. And you expect me to keep quiet as an educated person, as a lawmaker?
But why are
we made the law, we drafted the law.
So why are members of your party saying that you are a bad loser?
A bad loser because I'm educated and I used to be a lawmaker. We drafted the law. And I was a member of the committee that drafted this law. And I participated meaningfully when it was being passed on the floor of the Senate.
Without prejudice to your
knowledge, yes.
With your right, constitutional right to seek redress in court.
Yeah.
Are you a party man?
I am a party man.
As a party man, if the party says this is the way to go, and I understand that this candidate of your party has been taken to your president, the president who is your leader of your party has been authenticated by the leadership of your party. What does this mean? Are you going against the stand of your party in this matter?
No, I'm still in APC. Have you heard me criticizing my government?
Have you participated in anything in the party since after that primaries? I have
not been invited, but let me tell you, this is a democratic dispensation. We are not under a military government. You have a right to seek for justice. If you're afraid that you have been cheated, that's the hallmark of democracy. Democracy is not you keep quiet when they are putting sand in your mouth.
Have you been left alone in this fight?
You see, when you're a leader, what makes you a leader is to be able to surmount what majority feels is not possible. That makes you a leader. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands at the moment of comfort and convenience, but at time of challenge and controversy. That's what defines a man.
So because...
I'm telling you this because the president will not ask me not to fight for my right, not to go to court. They wouldn't do that.
Have you sought audience with the president on this?
I don't have to. I don't have to seek audience because the president is too busy to listen to participate in all these issues. The party is there. The chairman of the party, they knew what I'm talking about.
What you are doing?
Why did they call me? Why did they ask me to withdraw the case in court? They could not have done that because they knew well that there was no valid election.
In terms of the fact of the matter and the strength of your own argument, what gives you the confidence that you might win this case?
You know, this is not my personal case. Like I told you last time I was here, in the last 32 years, Kogi West had not produced a governor. We are not slave to anybody. We are one of the most educated people of northern region. We are not illiterate. Okay? So I'm fighting the cause of my people, just like he is fighting for his people to continue another 8 years. The Bira people, many of them are supporting me. Igala people are supporting me because they know. See, there's no religion more than your conscience. Your conscience is your religion. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, when people want to commit atrocities, when people want to embezzle money, they forget religion. Christian and Muslim, they connive and steal money. But when you ask them to use conscience for justice, it becomes a problem.
Morality, emotions are not cannot be adduced in court. You have to prove your case.
This is what I'm telling you, that if you are a judge, you expect 239 word results, and they presented before the judge 11 word results. On earth, where on earth can that pass the true test of justice? You said you conducted election you are not talking of local government, you said state election. And you said out of the 239 words, which this electoral act stipulates should be word by word. You now came with 11 to court.
Your party was joined in this matter, isn't it?
Of course they were joined it.
But your party is on the side of Mr. Ododo, isn't it?
Well, so far they are, but we are all before the court of law. You see, when the Supreme Court, whenever they make their pronouncement, it becomes a case law. If the Supreme Court should say that, okay, we accepted this 11 result for whatever reason, for technicality reasons, It means 11 word result is enough to become a governor. So it means they have set up what we call case law.
Let's assume
a new law is being established if that happens.
Should you emerge victorious at the Supreme Court, you might not get the support of Governor Yaya Bello and some party leaders in your state. Are you worried about this?
That is not true. You see, when you are in government, everybody claps for you. Whether you are doing good or bad, everybody deceives you. We are with you. But when the party law changes, you see the reality of man. There are people who are calling me, well, we are just following you, we are praying for you, we're just following them. There are in thousands who are telling me, smart, you see, the man they brought. Why bring Ododo here now? Let us talk with him. You have a responsibility to bring somebody who wants to be a governor. A neighboring state to your own state. The safety of Kogi is the safety of Kwara. So if you have a governor who cannot stand and come articulate programs and policies that he wants to implement, so we should just go blindly and vote for that kind of a man. See, Yaya Adoda Bello is my brother, is my friend. I have nothing against him, nothing personal. I'm not talking about his self-governance. I'm not criticizing because it's my party. And I want APC to still win the election.
And was your benefactor too.
Well, yes, just like I was his DG of his campaign, second term, that brought him to office. Yeah, I was the DG campaign. Why was I appointed DG campaign of his second term? It was Kogi West and Kogi Central that voted Yaya overwhelmingly to emerge second term.
Let's wrap this up.
Yes.
Should you lose in this Supreme Court case, what would you do?
When you know tomorrow is in the hand of God. Then two, when we get to the river, we start looking at the engineering work that is required for us to cross. But make no mistake about it. I served 3 terms in the Senate. Okay? And I have a large followership. And many of them are pretending now because they have to survive. They have to pretend, they have to survive.
You have a Dino, you have an Abejide from your senatorial district.
Yes.
Should you be a winner in that Supreme Court case? Don't you think that is in itself a problem for you?
It's not a problem.
Or for your party?
No, it's not a problem because we have leaders, we have elders. And above all, individual antecedent, your track record speaks for you.
Some of your elders have said follow Dino. Some of your elders have said follow Abejide.
No. You see,
the senatorial district seems to be divided already.
You see, many animals may be at the village square dancing, market square dancing. But when the elephant appears, the movement of the elephant, you don't have to talk.
So you are bigger than Dino.
Well, when we get to the river, we
defeated you at some point.
Well, I've defeated him twice or thrice, but don't worry, he's still my brother. Okay. When we get to the river, we know how to cross it. Okay. We know how to cross it.
Thank you so much.
Just bear one thing in mind that as a former lawmaker, the content and spirit of this electoral act, I was a party to it. So if I'm not knowledgeable, I'm speaking from a point of law that we have drafted. I'm not a judge, but I'm not in doubt that there are more than 7 points. They didn't conduct an election by voting. The law says cast your vote. They said they did option A4. Option A4, you know the option A4? Babangida. When you say 10, 30, 40, 70, they said that's the option. The vote they gave to me, I had more than what they even wrote for me by the time we calculate. The vote they gave to Ododo, he had less. They are all in court.
All right. Senator Smart Adeyemi, we allow you to argue your case. You're sounding like a lawyer, but you're not a trained one, I guess.
No, I'm still a student.
So I wish you the very best.
It's my pleasure.
And whatever be the case, may Nigeria win. That's the idea. Smart Adeyemi, thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you so much.